something else. But this was all Blake, and she knew that the song would work, and she got Taylor to do it, and I was just had nothing to do with it. I was just so grateful that Taylor agreed. And
Dream team. The soundtrack is amazing, like 10 out of 10.
Cakes always have a little bit of a sense of humor. For my baby, I just did a giant set of which I feel like will haunt him for life. But what do they want at 1? Like, he can't declare what he wants.
Yeah. What he wants at
Really?
1. Yeah.
I'll show you a picture after. They're pretty
Oh, I
amazing.
need to see
of the cake,
that.
not of mine.
Of your
also
food.
amazing. Though.
Well, I.
You know, you have to stop saying that you're going to move to Canada whenever you're mad at something in the U.S. As a Canadian, I'm sorry, but no, you can't. I know we're friendly, but Canada's not your safe house. I mean, we barely let Canadians into Canada anymore, so please, pick somewhere else. I hear Finland is really lovely this time of year.
Blake and Ryan? Oh, baby. They still making folks real money and stay booked and marketable. Their team got skin in the game, making sure they stay looking squeaky clean in them headlines. And it ain't just Leslie Sloan pulling strings. WME, that big dog agency, is deep in this too. And remember when I spilled that lil tea? Folks been whispering for years that WME be out here playing dirty, using bots, mass flagging, reporting folks left and right. And Chiley, word is they boostin' them follower counts like it's Black Friday. 'Cause best believe, in this clout-chasing era, production houses stay hirin' based on who's poppin' online. And boo, did I mention folks been shook to speak up about WME? 'Cause let's be real, they got that kind of power to blacklist folks real quiet and shut doors in Hollywood like it's nothin'. So now Judd Wallace done pulled up with receipts. He filed them docs he gave Blake, and then Blake hit him with an omnibus motion to Capel just last week, dropping all this tea from different folks. And baby, the way she movin', she low-key making folks tussle just to keep them docs sealed. But not everything's hush-hush. So yeah, some of that info gotta come out in the open, no blackout. Judd just slid the court a little letter too, asking they keep his bank info, number, emails, socials, you know, the personal stuff, under wraps. Then boom, they went and dropped the whole exhibit Blake had filed straight into the court docket, front and center. And what got me side-eyeing? Just last week, Blake was out here crying foul in a motion to strike like, y'all only doing this so folks gotta fight to keep stuff sealed. But sis, your own omnibus motion got folks doing exactly that, fighting for their lives trying to keep things under wraps. Now in Judd's latest production, baby, there's a whole text thread sitting in there, along with answers to them interrogatories. And let me tell you, this thread, from late January to February, right when the block was hot. We talking lawsuits dropping, Justin's career spiraling, and folks pointing fingers at Melissa, Nathan, the whole crew for that alleged smear campaign. And them messages? Phew, Brianna Koslow, Brian Friedman, Dervla, Jamie Heath, Jason Sunshine, Jen Abel, one of the Lawrences, Matt or Michael, and Mitra, who's an attorney, all in the mix. I think Michael's one of their attorneys to MIT, Toskovich, Melissa Nathan, Rosa, Riley Long, Spencer, Summer Benson, and Teresa Legal. Okay, so there's some attorneys on here and Jed put this into the documents. Okay, and Nathan, Melissa sent a message and says, why is the entire website deleted? And then Rosa said also access removed. I'm assuming for security reasons, doc is hopefully downloaded somewhere. And then MIT's doc, Toskovich, says, are we talking about the Google Doc or website? I have made a new Google Doc. The one Rosa started wasn't saving. And I believe the website was scrubbed because all the info would need uploaded again anyway. And Rosa said the Google Doc. And then MIT's wrote, yes, new Google Doc is with Jamie and Justin for review. And then we'll pass off to the rest. Mel, Jen, Legal, and then Rosa. So boom, they was planning a whole website to spill all of the so-called evidence. And it sounded like they were gonna drop it in a Google Doc too. But clearly, that didn't happen. 'Cause when the site finally went live, baby, it was dry. Just lawsuit info, the amended complaint, and Exhibit A. Rosa was like, okay, great, thanks. But then came back like, hi, nah, nothing is live yet, not even in staging. She said they were just talking about that timeline doc they'd been working on, basically a play-by-play of all the mess. That's the same document she was supposedly trying to get from Rosa. But sis already got it from Judd. What's she playing at? Roses with Skyline Agency, BTW. But then, on February 22nd, a whole thread pops off. It's them watching and passing around social media posts. One was a video Jamie dropped of Zach Peter running his mouth about an HR complaint, saying none were ever filed. And Judd? He was like, "Phew, I love me some Zach Peter." Jed Wallace goes, "Also, a nice breakdown here. Hope everybody's having a beautiful family night." Now mind you, this was right around the time them 3 HR complaints got leaked. Remember that drama? Folks were out here trying to figure out if they were real or just made up fluff. And child, I just read them today, and let me tell you, they are giving fake. So the irony of all this coming up in these texts? Phew. Anyway, someone tells Jed, "Thanks for keeping me on track with all this, Jed. I appreciate you." So he was basically feeding them clips of what folks was saying online, which sounds like he was just watching from the sidelines, right? But then Jed says, "Same here. The forensic guys put it all in the reports, but some stuff I just enjoy more than others." It's given I'm not involved, but we see you, sir. So apparently, Wayfair out here keeping tabs on what folks are saying online. Makes sense, right? Because if you trying to prove it's all organic, best believe you watching every lil post like a hawk. Then Justin drops a link to a Hollywood Reporter article, the one Blake went off on, calling it sexist, screaming David versus Goliath, and bringing up the Baha'i faith. It had some wild parts, sure, but it wasn't all that harsh. Definitely softer than some of the other hit pieces. Then Melissa Nathan reacts like, "Oh my god," and Jed Wallace chimes in with, "Beavers B does a B, domestic alone," whatever that means. And then Justin drops this, "Jen and Melissa, this was just sent to Travis's agent," meaning Travis Van Winkle. It's a doc request from some London-based producer at Optimum, who's flexing that they're Emmy and BAFTA winners. Apparently, they making a 3-part docuseries on Blake and Justin's whole messy beef for a global streaming platform. Woo. This whole project? It's following the same blueprint as them deep dive docuseries they did for Discovering HBO. You know, the ones where they go all in on high-profile celeb trials. The first episode's supposed to break down all the leaks, articles, lawsuits, and drama that led up to the libel trials. So the producer hits up Travis Van Winkle's People Talking About. Since he's known Justin for over 20 years and even popped up on his Man Up podcast, maybe he can speak on what Justin's really like. Real smooth with it. They want to keep the convo on the low, background only, trying to finesse Travis into doing an interview. The producer's name? Maya Adelia. Then Ahmed hops in like, "She emailed me too." Same pitch. Mitra jumps in with the casual flex like, "Oh, I've worked with them before. They did that Discovery doc on Johnny Depp. I was in that one." Then she's like, "Another British production company hit up ITN. They're doing a 1-hour piece too, not sure which streamer." Meanwhile, they just pass in clips like snacks, Zach again, and then something else they're all sharing.
Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it. If you're feeling the vibe, hit that like button. And if you're new to the fam, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when we drop the latest and greatest. Thanks for tuning in.
You know, you have to stop saying that you're going to move to Canada whenever you're mad at something in the US. As a Canadian, I'm sorry, but no, you can't. I know we're friendly, but Canada's not your safe house. I mean, we barely let Canadians into Canada anymore, so please, pick somewhere else. I hear Finland is really lovely this time of year.
Cakes always have a little bit of a sense of humor. For my baby, I just did a giant set of which I feel like will haunt him for life. But what do they want at 1? Like, he can't declare what he wants.
Yeah. What he wants at 1. Yeah.
I'll show you a picture after. They're pretty
Oh,
amazing.
I need to see
of the cake,
that.
not of mine.
Of your
also
food.
amazing. Though.
Well, I
Something Ryan Reynolds said to the cops up in Vancouver, and baby, it's wild. Folks stay confused on why people keep hollering that this judge is shady. But let me tell you, he got real pressed over some letters Perez Hilton sent, and probably a few spicy ones from creators calling him out for acting biased. Judges? Oh, they hate when folks speak too much truth. But the gag is, the Southern District of New York, baby, that place stay dirty. one of the most corrupt federal courts in the entire US. They out here dealing with more messy cases on crooked officials, cops, even judges than anywhere else in the country. Baby, the corruption in New York? Thick like grits, and it runs deep. So don't act surprised when folks start throwing shade and saying this whole case got a lil funk to it. 'Cause honestly, some of these rulings, they wouldn't fly anywhere else. The kind of leeway Blake and Ryan keep getting. Child, I ain't never seen nothing like it. That judge stay riding for Blake, like clockwork, ignoring real receipts, illegal subpoenas, shady moves, all of it. Just turning his head like he ain't seen nothing. Meanwhile, everything Wayfair does gets dragged like it's automatically wrong. And whew, let me tell you, I got something I've been holding back, but today, I'ma spill it. 'Cause I would not put it past Ryan Reynolds, not one bit. Trying to sway the judge or twist the court with his Hollywood clout? Oh, Ryan been on that. I got my hands on a whole case file, Chile, from way back in 2015 and 2016, when Ryan legit tried to get a paparazzo locked up. He swore up and down he got hit by a car, but the real tea, that pap snapped a pic of him in full Deadpool makeup before the movie dropped. You know, the one where he looked like he just walked out of fire. Yeah, that. And baby, Ryan snapped. One photo had him spiraling into a full-blown meltdown that lasted years, trying to toss that man in prison over straight-up lies. Then he pulled strings in Vancouver, talking big money and big movies like he run in the city. And oh, I got a letter he wrote to the cops, and you need to hear every single word. This came after he already ran his mouth to police. Dated April 12th, 2015. And listen, I ain't never dropped this full letter before, so buckle up, because we're about to step into Ryan Reynolds' actual mindset. It starts all proper. Hi, my name is Ryan Reynolds, and I'm an actor, public figure from Vancouver, BC, Canada. Then he name drops his wife, Blake Blake Reynolds, and their baby girl, James Inez Reynolds. He even tosses in his mama's name, Tamara Lee Reynolds. Like, okay, sir, we get it. Then boom, he dives right into the drama. Says he got a long history with Richard Fidek, some paparazzo who'd been on his nerves. Claims the first time he clocked Richard was 4 years earlier in Vancouver when he and Blake were just trying to chill with fam. But Ryan says Richard tailed them in his car, pushing wild speeds, creeping up behind him like he was in a Fast and Furious movie or something. Let me be real clear, none of this went down, not a lick of it. But here go Ryan acting like he's saving the streets, talking about he feared for Blake, himself, and all the innocent folks just trying to live. Says he pulled over and hopped out like he was about to check somebody. And who's there? Richard Vidak, popping out with a long lens camera, snapping pics like it's TMZ live. Now listen, Ryan knows he's famous, knows people go and catch him out in public, but he acting like it was shocking this man had a camera while driving. Sir, you're not the president. Anyway, he calls the whole thing aggressive and says it had him shook. So instead of saying anything, he claims he dipped back in the car and kept it pushing. But not before saying Richard kept tailing him so close, he swore their bumpers were about to kiss. The way he tells it, they were scared, frustrated, and just straight up confused. So boom, we get to the part where Ryan say once they reached his mama's spot, Richard posted up outside like he was in a spy movie. He says they peeked out the window and saw him pacing, circling the front, dipping into the underground parkade, and even hiding behind bushes across the street. Now pause, I already dragged this whole story in a past video, so let's be real. None of this is true. Not a drop. Doesn't line up with any of the receipts. He pulled this straight out of his Hollywood imagination, and that's just facts. And if you want to see where I broke it all down, go peep the episode in my podcast playlist. Now here's the kicker. Ryan says Blake got history with a stalker, so all this extra from Vidak had her on edge. Then he claims they spotted Richard like 12 more times from their hotel window and even from the 5th floor gym. So dramatic. And apparently, to avoid a vehicular collision, they stayed holed up in that hotel room the rest of the trip, okay? So instead of stepping out, they had family come to them, real incognito vibes. Then, fast forward like 3 years, they head back to Vancouver and they swear up and down they were so shook that Pidek would pop up at the airport. They pulled a whole detour, flew into Seattle, rented a car, and drove 2 hours from SeaTac to dodge him. I mean, the dramatics. But plot twist, he still figured out they were in town. On that trip, Ryan claims both he and Blake saw Richard act even wilder, like he'd leveled up on the chaos. Said while cruising from the hotel to his mama's spot in Kitsilano, Richard, this time with an Asian woman riding shotgun, started tailing them again, creeping up like they in a car chase. Ryan says he went through an intersection, right as the light flipped from green to yellow. A city bus was behind him, and Richard, he was riding that bus's bumper like he was glued to it. So the light flips, right? The bus behind him hits the brakes, don't go through. But Ryan, he just keeps going like he above traffic laws. Says other drivers start honking and one even slams the brakes as Richard allegedly runs the red. Illegally, of course. And right on cue, Ryan pulls over, cue the dramatic music. He swears up and down he and Blake were suddenly so concerned that this chase was going to hurt innocent bystanders. And let's pause, because if you peep the pattern, Ryan always got to be the saviour, the protector, the hero. And let's not forget, this ain't even real. When he says this all happened, Richard wasn't even in Vancouver. But anyway, Ryan claims they worried Richard was going to cause a wreck and hurt somebody. Says that's when he knew it was serious. They parked on West Broadway near Vine Street, and apparently it was so bad, the only option was calling 911. But get this, he couldn't find his phone, and Richard parked right behind him. Blake, in tears, crying. I mean, Ryan really said he was in shock that someone would risk lives just for a photo. Like this picture was the crown jewels or something. He swears Fidek was out there smirking and getting a kick out of the whole chase, like it was a game. Says they'd catch him grinning or throwing a lil wave as he slid up next to him in traffic. Okay, sir. Anyway, they were only a couple blocks from his mama's crib, so Ryan says they decided to wait and call 911 from there. Then here come more stunts. He makes a U-turn and claims Fidek tried to match it, but flopped. Supposedly underestimated his car's turn radius and jumped the sidewalk on Broadway like it's Grand Theft Auto. Said dude stayed driving on the sidewalk till he could finish that turn. So finally, they roll up to Mama's house and Ryan says he hit up 911. 2 cops pull up quick. But guess what? Richard pieced out right before they got there. Then police started grilling 2 random dudes outside the building. Turns out they were also caught on Richard's camera, part of some paparazzi syndicate or something. And here's the kicker. None of that actually went down. Ryan just straight up made it all up because he was salty. Richard snapped those photos leaking everywhere. Fast forward 2 years, Ryan's on set filming a Canadian flick called The Captive in Sudbury, Ontario. Just over 3 weeks of work. He and Blake were crashing at this tiny hotel when bam, they spot Richard again, stalking him all over town like he ain't got no chill. So Ryan says they had like 6 of these wild chases, just straight up stalking vibes. He claims Richard was all up in their hotel halls, sneaking around like he owned the place, even though he wasn't even a registered guest. But hold up, turns out that ain't true. Dude spent most his time on the film set and lounging around the hotel, just following them like a shadow. They got so fed up, they basically stopped leaving the hotel except for the bare essentials. Groceries, work, that's it. Blake was so shook. After the first week, she wouldn't step foot outside at all. Then, after filming wrapped, Richard supposedly tailed them all the way to Toronto, hanging outside their hotel 24/7. But here's the plot twist. He actually showed receipts with plane tickets proving he wasn't even in Toronto.
Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it. If you're feeling the vibe, hit that like button. And if you're new to the fam, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when we drop the latest and greatest. Thanks for tuning in.